been a big word for Echo Fox. Cop now out, switching the junglers back and forth, trying to find the right composition. How will Echo Fox adjust? Some of that has to be right here in Game 3. Match point for both teams as we head into picks and bans.
Yeah, Anivia has been banned this whole time, but notice how when TSM is on blue side, I'm curious to see if they continue to ban Vladimir, because they could easily just play it themselves and force Echo Fox into banning it, or at least threaten to play it themselves, if Echo Fox wants to try and deny TSM the champions they've played this whole set.
Dash and Mark on the dash talking about getting that Azir away from Bjergsen. I think it is one of the right moves.
I mean, Bjergsen's Azir is pretty great, and there's a lot of mid-lane bans already, especially with Froggen being successful on Cassiopeia, although I feel like Bjergsen would just go back to Victor after that. There's definitely more initiation potential from the Azir, though, and it gives TSM much more flexibility.
All right.
Again, TSM bans Vlad.
The Rise again, or is it the Azir? Big choice to be made here. Top laners are having a heyday throughout this one, as the Shen was actually banned away from KFO in that victory. TSM respecting that. Is the Azir respected here on the pickup? Because honestly, Bjergsen's going to pick something still strong, but not as controlling as his Azir as it is at 30 minutes as these games are going a little later. It's the Rise again from Echo Fox. Maybe it's a situation where Froggen feels comfortable in that lane, and that's enough for them to leave it up.
Exactly, and there's a lot of stuff they could pick away here. They could pick away Karma, they could pick away Aurelia. Instead of, it's not like TSM needs to play the same team composition. They're going to take the power pick here. The power pick for them is Karma. We will see a new team composition for TSM, guaranteed.
And the rest four are the same. Small switch. Small switch. What does KFO get? Do they take the Rek'Sai and get that away from Svenskeren? Rek'Sai Aurelia could be two great pickups.
I think they should take Aurelia for sure. Two of the top lane matchups taken away from it. Obviously, KFO's Jax was pretty good last time, but I do still feel like in team fighting, the Aurelia has a little bit more versatility than the Jax. And they're also going to be able to deny the Rek'Sai, so some meaningful adjustments coming out on the Echo Fox side here.
Hard has gone with Olaf 2 games in a row. We'll see that switch right now. And what will be on the other side? It is alive. It is open.
We saw that random Hecarim ban in the first game. We've also seen Hecarim a little bit in the jungle, even in top lane very sparingly. Although it has yet to find a large amount of success in the LCS. If you have the Karma, though, legend has it, you will pick the Olaf jungle just to speed him up and make him better. It's very good synergy.
20 seconds left. Quiet comms here. Svenskeren's like, what do I pick myself?
Yeah, I mean,
doesn't have to worry about too much.
If they're going to lock it in, they shouldn't be hovering it. Just a pet peeve of mine. You don't want to give the other team time to react to your stuff.
Ooh. I mean, they already have a jungler, right? So it's not like it would matter if they picked it or not, but the Lucian and the Azir are picked up once again.
That'll do it. Same damage dealing backline 3 games in a row. Bjergsen Doublelift very comfortable on that set. So many Lucian games. You got to be getting sick of the champion at some point, Doublelift.
Wasn't he the one that actually just wasn't that good, Doublelift used to say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when Lucian was first gaining popularity, he didn't think it was that good. Then he got beasted by someone's...
Isn't that what you say to the girl on the playground when you don't like her?
Yeah. Oh, she's... I really don't like her.
I don't like that.
Yeah, she's not all she's cracked up to be.
Well, he's still going to keep going back to it. Looks like he got the phone number. Froggen and Keith, what will they decide? I don't think it's going to be that Varus. We may just go back to the Cassiopeia once again.
Yeah, I mean, I can't fault Froggen for picking Cassiopeia if they're going to be letting the Azir through, and like, it's strange because it's hard to say that the Azir is the reason that Echo Fox are losing these games. Froggen is winning to splitting lane and potentially making just as many, if not more, plays than Bjergsen in these games. So, like, I totally understand why they're letting the Azir through, and I understand why they're letting the Lucian through as well, because it's not like Doublelift is hard carrying on these things. But yeah, I would say it's actually the Lucian that is making more plays than even the Azir. Like, the early game pressure that it is providing has been massive.
This combination of Biofrost and Doublelift working so well. Just kind of like one unit as they push second tiers together very, very early last game. Like you said, just the control they have there. Almost more of a playmaking-esque way to bring it to the table. what will be the final 2 pickups, and it's going to be a Swain and a Gragas.
Yeah.
So really switching things up here as we come into game 3.
And TSM's done this a few times this season where they go really heavy into AP, and it relies on Doublelift getting farmed in this game. So look for a lot of jungle attention towards Doublelift's lane here. Otherwise, they're going to be very easy for Echo Fox to stack a bunch of magic resistance and make TSM's damage footprint a little bit irrelevant.
Well, we've seen his positioning very, very good. He's got a lot of front line as well to sit behind on this one. And the shields of Biofrost Karma this time instead of the Nami. What will they round out the composition now? Again, big kind of getting that last support pick.
Yeah, trying to figure out if they want the sustain from Nami, if they want some tankiness maybe. It would be nice to get something that can build a locket very early. Sometimes the tanky supports are good there, but that also gets beasted by the Karma in lane, and that's what's really important here is that they have a strong laning presence. The Zyra would fit that build. Zyra's very difficult to lane against and has a lot of poke damage, so I kind of like that pick as long as he doesn't die 10 times, which sometimes Zyra does.
I also really favor your own displacement, your own kind of zone control if the other team has it. Having that cast for Svenskeren, if you just Zyra ult and Stranglethorn that area as well, it kind of disengages what might give TSM the upper hand.
Yeah, and you could tell there was still a lot of discussion for Echo Fox around that last support pick, and at least in the current meta, like your support pick can dictate a lot of how your team composition plays. For Echo Fox right here, a KFO will be slightly out of place here since it's really a counter-engage team composition once again. Cassiopeia already a good counter-engage champion. Zyra, the best in the business.
Yeah.
So
you're not going to want to dive a turret at that.
It doesn't necessarily put Echo Fox in the position to make a lot of plays, which has been something they want to work towards. But at the same time, if you're just trying to win this series, the game they did win was when they did stop TSM's aggression and they did counter-engage a few nice times. So can't fault them for the pick, and maybe they can come away with this with the win.
See if they put the pressure on themselves that hard again this time. It's time to break the tie. Send your vote on social media using hashtag TSMWin or the hashtag FOXWin to declare your allegiance and predict the winners of this series. We'll know if you change your vote. Don't cheat. We're going to be heading into this one real quick. Everybody's on stage, hoping we get no pause in this one. Has been quite intense throughout this series. Like we said, unexpected results already. Echo Fox putting pressure on the top team in the league, TSM, as we enter into the final game of the series. Game point, as I said, going into Champion Select, and that stands true right now. We are on the Rift, and somebody's going to walk away a winner.
Absolutely, and the question will also be whether or not we want to see standard lanes here, because there has not been deep lane swap wards placed in either of the first 2 games with relatively conservative level 1 plans for both of these teams. Whereas last game, that actually really punished Echo Fox. They were unable to guess properly in a lane swap. TSM was able to meet them in lanes, and that just allowed Doublelift and Svenskeren and Biofrost to kind of take over the pressure in this game. Now it actually seems like TSM are the ones going in a little bit early to try and get the lane swap wards.
Hard just peeking. So I think they're there. And it looks like Keith will get himself into the same situation on that bot side, so they have the vision as well. So, gentlemen's agreement. We'll go this way. You go that way. Let's not fight just yet.
Yeah, so deep wards placed.
Lane swaps have definitely favored TSM in these.
Yeah, they have much better wave manipulation. They've been able to get Monster a decent-sized lead over KFO. If Swain gets ahead of Aurelia, it makes Aurelia kind of miserable in split pushes. But also notice just the delayed exits by the duo lanes. They'll both end up walking through these wards. Oh, look at this. Echo Fox wants the 2v2. They see TSM walking through the bottom side, and they path right for it. This means they'll be a little late for the lane, but they definitely want this 2v2.
It's a volatile bot lane. Seeds, blossoms everywhere from Keith's Jin. There's going to be a lot to avoid in this. It's not just cupcakes everywhere every so often. There's a lot to look at in this lane. It'll be very interesting to see what happens there. And KFO is going to take to the top side, so we're going to get matched up for this one. I am liking it. Last time it was a swap matchup, but it happened real fast and TSM took control.
Yeah, because even if you consider this a favorable matchup, they're starting down experience in both side lanes now because they decided to react to those late wards to get this swap. Doublelift already level 2 before Echo Fox has killed the minion.
Oh,
The plants and the Death Blossoms from Jin will be rather annoying, but it's also going to be tough to deal here. They're going to start down in experience, and same with the top side. Haunter's going to be able to push in KFO.
Mantrad Q connecting as well for Biofrost, so he's doing a great job at keeping Fox at bay in this bot lane. The slow advantages have worked very well, or small advantages, I should say, are worked very well and slow by TSM. They know how to keep them in control and when to spike them as well. Coming up onto 3 minutes, just 20 seconds from now. Last game, we saw Svenskeren trying to get into the lanes. So you can see this one's much slower with the change in jungle.
Yeah, definitely. I'm curious where Svenskeren will use his early ganks on. Ditto for Hard. They're going for some pressure. I mean, Haunter would have to be pretty low to make this gank work. This is a better gank when you have multiple people to collapse in. Oh, they get a stun. They chain it.
That was a Blade Surge to a dead minion, so KFO actually closed the gap. Once again, the never move was perfectly placed from Haunter a few steps before his attackers.
Yeah, and I mean, that gank would have been perfect if Haunter had taken any poke damage from KFO beforehand, because you can see the CC chain potential right there. But KFO also wanted to make sure he could get the stun instead of slow, and they thought they'd be able to burst him down in the chain, but they were unable to do so. Never moved from Haunter. Nearly turned it around. I mean, Hard got extremely low after that dive, but also allows for a blue buff steal by Svenskeren. He's a little bit low, but if they get enough pressure in this bottom side, nah, they're taking too much damage to force a Gragas dive.
You think you step up and then a few plants pop up in front of your face, the new Zyra definitely causes you to tunnel and then have to relook at what your environment looks like. There's a lot of things popping up all over the place. So we see that Svenskeren does choose to go back, recognizes there isn't too much on the bottom side. That has been Hard's recent excursion. So they'll at least have connection on where Hard is. Also, within that top lane hit, KFO was able to walk back to lane with Haunter's teleport down.
Very true, although Haunter was able to come back and catch a wave, so despite KFO walking back, Haunter will have the level advantage.
Pick that up, very nice.
Both of these guys will be flashless as well, which means while KFO will want to be aggressive, he'll have to be a little bit more measured. It's a temporary 2-level disadvantage. You can see he'll level up on about the next minion.
Skill shots galore in that bot lane, left and right, whether it's Grasping Roots or the Karma Inner Flame coming out. Harass onto the turret, trying to dodge it out, but Karma easy farm here. So very, very slow early game. 600 gold lead just from back and forth, getting some farm in these lanes. Svenskeren is actually hard farming this one instead of making himself apparent to the lanes.
Well, they poked KFO down pretty well. He's just got to... Svenskeren is at least threatening the dive. Oh, Krugs respawn though. May as well take those. Hard's going to have the same play on the bottom side available. It's just a matter of how much poke TSM would take, whether or not this is a viable dive. The main difference here, though, is KFO is getting denied. Double to Biofrost still farming. I will say, if one more bit of poke lands on TSM, I'd expect a dive.
There's so much damage to follow up here, but it's really conditional. Is the Grasping Root there? Who takes damage first? Is Hard going to initiate?
Yeah, KFO can also teleport in behind if they really want to secure this, and here it comes.
He is hitting. That was already channeled. They're going to look for Biofrost. It's going to be a very slow Svenskeren trying to walk up. The Grasping Roots don't hit, but they're still able to finalize the kill. They need to get out very quick here. We see Bjergsen slowly walking down, and with that range, he will be able to connect with them about the midway of that lane. Svenskeren looking for the slow as well, and they're actually going to call it off as the chase is too long. Yeah,
even if they were able to succeed in the chase, it would still be a 3v4, and that is using the teleport that Haunter had burned to get back to lane against TSM. So I like the gank call there by Echo Fox. TSM tried to outplay it. They still lose Biofrost. They lose all of their summoner spells, but they don't lose the turret. So the gold trade is actually going to be fairly equatable since Haunter was able to get all that farm. Still a good punish attempt and a nice kill to be picked up on direct side.
KFO as well, allowing that all to happen with his quick back thinking in the top lane that Svenskeren's just behind me, I might die here. So that back leading to the TP. Fox is definitely looking at the bigger picture here and not just trying to win the laning phase, setting things up for themselves, which is usually what TSM is ahead of in each game.
Yeah, and speaking of setup, like, the mobility boots are not something you normally see on Gragas. You usually see the cooldown reduction boots so you can flash into more body slams.
Whoa. Oh, all
nice
right.
done.
Good turnaround. Can't follow it up, but he does stop himself from going down. Flash alt used for Froggen on that petrifying gaze.
Yeah, nice job by Froggen to stuff that one. Also gets some good harass down onto Bjergsen. But yeah, those mobility boots are really interesting. It allows him to move from point A to point B much faster, but it does limit the frequency in which he can make unstoppable initiations with the body slam flash combo. Not a very common pickup on Gragas, I would have to say.
It's almost like an oxymoron.
Look how fast he is.
But not.
Zooming around. As soon as he's in combat, of course, he slows down to a snail's pace.
He's got to drag all those presents around.
TSM went 85%.
Yep.
Honestly, if you're even just thinking about the odds, not even factoring in the fact that TSM is usually a fan favorite, the 6-0 team versus the 1-5 team is going to be close to an 85% chance to win. That's why we call it a trap game. They lose game 1.
Yep.
Envy is also a formidable foe. Match of the week will be coming up tomorrow between TSM and Envy. But TSM have to finish this one off first if they want to stay undefeated. And the early game is still pretty close.
Definitely going to have a few more thoughts than they would have considered coming out of this game. And Hanser's going to have a few more thoughts about pushing up that far. He has the vision, but the vision doesn't go straight down the lane. And look at this! Hanser is healing himself right up. KFO's forced to flash. He's slaloming the minions, and he's going to ski himself almost to safety. The grasping roots coming in from big on the flash and exhaust. They had to use a lot to take him down.
Yeah, Echo Fox had to work for that one. That's 2 flashes and exhaust and also 2 ultimates burned, but they still get the kill, and because it's 9 minutes in with the cannon wave, they're going to get the turret as well. So overall, that is worth it right there. Nice timing on the gank. Big landed a lot of critical skill shots despite Hanser being able to juke both of the Keats. TSM will get the turret on the other side, but stands the kill.
72 to 46. They were saying Hans just had a little too much free time CSing. We need to shut him down. They put quite a bit of resources towards that top side. They're going to actually keep going, as it doesn't look like TSM is going to give up their push either. Hanser not the greatest wave clear, and there's nothing to stop TSM on the other side, so they're going second tier turrets for both.
And this is where you have to track who is ahead on the race and who can retreat faster.
Oh boy.
TSM is
That's
ahead.
TSM.
So there's no need for them to stop necessarily. And it's all about how much you're willing to commit to the play. 5 people on Echo Fox are thinking about this one, and they call it off, as TSM shows. They know TSM's too far ahead, and I think TSM will probably end up backing away as well. It's just a straight-up turret trade.
So not too damaged. A little bit better of a cleanup here for Hanser. He's going to get that way before the turret, and you can already see it crashing in for Fox. So Hanser, a very nice cleanup for him. And he's going to pick up whatever comes into this bot lane. He'll have a few ways to push in safety. TSM now back to controlling the map. We'd actually seen Echo Fox on TSM side for quite a while there. But then trading back and forth. TSM get the vision, start the objectives, and this is where they start to catapult themselves.
Yep, this is the reward from being ahead in tempo on the side lane turret push. When Echo Fox was forced to recall, TSM wasn't. Echo Fox trying to get one back with the Rift Herald, though. That will be very good for KFO if he makes it over to pick that one up, which he should. Zyra very helpful with this, being able to turn. Oh, they reset it actually, so it gains about 1,000 health before being knocked back down. They changed the aggro too many times towards plant that they actually hit the cap and it started healing up.
Bjergsen 106 to 113. It's been the Cassiopeia Azir every time. These guys know what to expect in lane. It's what can they provide for their team after they get out of this, because really they haven't provided much trouble other than lowering each other's health bars, coming back to lane and doing it again to farm.
I mean, it's very true. It's all about the playmaking, really. Who can assist better with the ganks? Whoa, really interesting. I think he's trying to clear Zyra and Jinult.
I like it.
Clear, but they might.
Oh, I said they're gonna get him! Oh, Svenskeren steps in range as Hanser just breaks the tether. The unlikely death almost became the one that took Hanser.
Yeah, so a failed siege there by TSM, and great job by Keith and Big to defend that with their ultimates.
I was actually thinking Big might have got too sure of himself there. It was a very scary spot, but Stranglethorn's going out. Definitely made TSM turn away quick. And here, it doesn't even feel like they're safe enough to, or feel secure enough to run through the jungle.
And it is going to be tricky for Svenskeren to make these initiations work against the Cassiopeia and the Zyra. And he hasn't really made these mobility boats work so much, unable to rotate to the right ganks. And slower in fights, but they move right over to mid lane. Jhin and Zyra ults are down. Cancels the teleport, actually, because there's a big wave bottom.
He's going to try to save that turret. A little extra time on the minion in mid. Help them with some damage. And I guess he stops KFO from taking that overall, but opening up mid. Maybe they just weren't sure that would have happened for them.
Yeah, not sure if that was a mixed call or if they saw new information with how many people Echo Fox had retreated far, because the teleport will scare them off the turret, but at the same time, he didn't want to lose the farm bottom lane. So he scares them partially off the turret, gets the farm bottom lane, and will get a reduced cooldown on his teleport. That's still a pretty critical cooldown now. The KFO has teleport advantage, and they didn't even get a turret for it. They just got some damage.
Are we really favoring that 30-ish CS lead that he has over Haunter, or has over, I should say, KFO? That would have been cleaned up quite well if he did TP mid. So it keeps him good. Rod of Aegis charging up. He's not massive yet, but he's actually trying to get to that point. So plays it safe, if that's the way they thought about it. 122 to 92 as well for the AD carries. In another game where Keith picks Jhin, and a third game where Doublelift is on that Lucian. You're just back to clearing out the waves as some outer turrets still stand. Gold to be picked up here. Who's going to be able to spike better with it?
Yeah, obviously with
very
the Ghost
slow
play,
going.
with the Ghost split on Doublelift right now, he is much stronger than Keith's Jhin. Really just trying to get the wave pressure down, but it's so hard to push into his Zyra. Keith able to just wave clear out pretty easily as well.
Definitely a nice switch up. As you were mentioning, the Zyra, it's stopping TSM from wanting these engages, really stopping them from actually going harder on the turrets than they could be able to. We haven't really seen Big take that out too much. Once last week, and just a few before that. Is the Karma and the Braum has really been his mainstay so far. So still switching it up.
Yeah, I mean, I still really like the way TSM's moving between turrets, and this at least explains why Sven's scaring to build the mobility boots. They're trying to stack their movement speed advantage over Echo Fox this game. Karma and Doublelift are zipping side to side. They go threaten a turret. If Echo Fox has defenders, they go threaten another turret. And they've gone back and forth enough times that they're actually just kind of crushing down turrets now.
Froggen left to fight the Sundisk in mid, and he said, I got a turret. But wait, we're losing the inhibitor now on the bot side. Froggen's actually going to walk this one back. They may be able to get somewhat of a pincer, but it seems like he's giving that reroute away. And he's going to go ahead and try to get a mid lane push in mid. Gather with the team. They could try to force down mid if they get TSM walking on the flank here.
Yeah, and TSM has made a pretty clear decision that they're really just trying to beat Echo Fox through map rotations and teamwork.
Yes.
They're not going for crazy solo kills. They're not playing the lane super aggressively. It's actually Echo Fox who's been able to go for a few kills and get them, but TSM is holding a clear advantage in this game because they are just moving between lanes in a superior fashion.
And it doesn't look like they'll have the damage to even get that mid turret down. Hard goes down to Dragon. There's still a minute on this, so they're just kind of prepping the vision. But TSM isn't, even with their map movement, allowing Fox to feel comfortable doing damage to a turret. They back off with what position they had in mid. You see the Scuttle Cab also going over to Sven Skaren.
Yeah, Sven Skaren also doesn't go the Runic Echoes Gragas, which many people do. He's gone Cinderhole.
Big guy.
So full tank Gragas, knows that the small damage, magic damage increase he would have got from the Runic Echoes isn't going to matter since there's going to be a lot of magic resistance, most likely on Echo Fox anyway.
Sponsor and Bjergsen on 2 magic dealers.
May as well just be a tank, which means his presence needs to be known.
Haven't really seen TSM's committed ults here. No cask has come in. Bjergsen usually waits quite long before he gets his Emperor's Divide in.
But if you look at this, they're consistently just using the Monstered Shield by Karma to zip around the map. And as they move into the Echo Fox jungle, it gives Haunter time to finish off the top lane turret, and will now be a 3-turret edge without shedding any Echo Fox blood. 0 kills, but they get 5 turrets because they're just moving around in a smarter fashion.
Usually we see these teams a few kills for TSM, but when you're able to just go around a team, there aren't very many kills once you get to the Nexus. These are awesome games to watch. Here, TSM actually isn't getting kills, but they're still in the lead because they're, like you said, working that rotation so well. Fox just doesn't even have the chance to engage. As TSM says, peekaboo, we're in, we're out, and we took what we needed. Here, not even really deterred by the curtain call.
Yeah. I mean, KFO is off defending.
Okay.
So, there's the Froggen ult.
There's a follow-up. That's the long-range utility and crowd control they're looking for. Fox almost doesn't even have to enter the fight themselves. And they found a Sven Skaren.
Oh, man. That's Froggen. he's trying to be the playmaker, really. But Echo Fox is consistently on the back foot here. They're always getting pushed in. Yes, they're able to get a few kills back, but they'll need to make more plays like that to actually gain a control in the game. And it's a continuation of the problem that Echo Fox has spoken about of just not doing anything. They're not finding ways to proactively come back in the game, and they need to continue to make more of those. Otherwise, TSM will suffer a short casualty. Sven will use those mobility boosts to run back to base. Double's going to be getting more damage on that mid lane turret.
One of the things that we question is, as Echo Fox continues to move on, there's great solo lanes, and we see how that can synergize, but they also like to build around Froggen, or will audible to building around Froggen in the game, letting him. And the question is, when can that stop?
Yeah, in this game, I mean, TSM can just match him with Bjergsen, and then the rest of the map falls behind, so TSM will end up winning. Still a relatively tight game, though. Only 2,000 gold. But honestly, TSM is just toying with Echo Fox as far as their ability to move between these turrets.
Understanding the errors of their game 1, and not really letting those come to fruition here in either game 2 or game 3 from what we're seeing. A 3K gold lead as we see this dive once again go wrong.
Yeah, and I mean, Froggen just kind of walks up to them is what it looks like. Sven was trying to hit the turret. It's rooted by Big, and then he turned to throw a barrel. And that's when he gets stunned by Froggen's ult.
Actually caught Haunter on the outside too. That would have been probably those guys dead after the cast. So everything working in their favor as the turret stands, and they're able to continue clearing the waves.
But pretty insane.
Well, the turret's down, I should say.
Pretty insane that 6 turrets are already down for TSM with 0 kills. Can they win the whole game with 0 kills? Is the question. Still close. Another Mountain Drake would come up that will increase their objective-style gameplay.
It will. It also
Drake
leads into their second game not being as good KDA-wise because they don't have any kills. So the stats don't lie.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Drake going over once again to Mountain. Wow, TSM is just rolling Mountain Drakes left and right this game.
Absolutely. It's the 5th Mountain Drake spawn in the last 2 games.
Yeah.
Is it going to be another triple mountain? No, Infernal is next.
Oh, Infernal.
Yeah, so we got double mountain Infernal. That's a good combination for TSM.
Oh.
This will be interesting. Echo Fox trying to make a play. Haunter would have to teleport in to save it, but Echo Fox doesn't have very good initiation.
Oh.
They have to flank if they want to trap them.
You see a bit of what they have in mind there. The seedlings go out, you hit with the plant, and then you can actually get that Jin stun and maybe follow up on it, but there's not much follow-up that they have.
Yeah, and TSM isn't actually looking to fight here, looking to push Echo Fox into the jungle, cut them off, and then get the mid lane turret. Every move that TSM is making is predicated around getting turrets. They have to worry about the Baron sneak, though. 20-minute Cassiopeia can kill it pretty fast. TSM is going to recognize this, but that Baron's going down really quick. Zyra Cassiopeia take it. 5,000, TSM collapsing.
Oh. I mean, they pull TSM off, but you lose so much ground when you try something like that that you've been building. Now we can see TSM may have the inner side on mid lane, but they don't have the waves. They're actually just looking to pick up KFO on the rotation and now clearing the vision around there.
TSM, though, has double Mountain Drake. So if they wanted to, they have a higher threat of stealing it. They know a pink ward's on here. That'd be very bold if they decided to go for it. Oh, they're very bold. That's for sure. Azir can move over to DPS more.
Put these guys in quotes. Control B, bold TSM. They're going to back out, though. Italicize only.
Got to be more elegant in their ways of winning the game. They tried the bold strategy in game 1. It backfired.
Yeah?
Elegance is the way. Discipline.
Only when you're 100% sure of yourself. Echo Fox looks pretty sure that they can get this mid lane turret down. Sven will add to the defense. Cask out. It just drops one for the homies. That's not going to hit anybody. It looks like they do get the minion wave cleared, though, if nobody did get dispersed out. Coming up on 22 minutes. TSM still, I don't even know if they're looking to get a kill, but looking to get themselves inside the base without any more trouble. We saw the Baron attempt back and forth. Both teams feel comfortable at trying to sneak that now. And if Echo Fox can get it, they might be able to find the turnaround they had in game 1.
Yeah, I mean, if Echo Fox is going to be looking for team fights, I'm waiting for that Aegis. They're not building it up currently on Big or on Hard. But maybe when Froggen uses all his cooldowns, they'll go for a kill. This looks like an opportunity for a kill.
slowly, those birds are still doing their work. Here comes the curtain call, and it may just be curtains for the Raven. Haunter's able to get himself out. Just flying away.
So hard to kill Swain, man. Zhonya's Roa. He's done that in a couple of his games on Swain, just boldly split pushing, daring a jungler to come with him, and he puts the damage down on the main damage threat, knowing that the jungler is a tank. He pushes him out of the fight, and then he's able to escape. It's happened a couple of times now for him. It's been very hard for Echo Fox to deal with.
Exactly, because you also don't have a burst. You're whittling him down, and he's just gaining health while you're whittling, so it's not like you can crush that HP gain all the way down. And he's up, so that hurts even more. Usually if your Swain's down, controllable. Not so much for Haunter this time. 207, still got about a 30 CS lead over KFO here as they start to work what is kind of a 1-3-1. You can see TSM milling about in the jungle, but they're getting the lane set up now.
Yeah, and the later it gets, the more TSM has a chance of rushing down Baron. Also, they've taken so many of Echo Fox's outer turrets, makes it easier for TSM to get map control, because they have not broken the game open in any sense of the word yet, but they are laying the foundation to win the game. Whereas Echo Fox is so far on the back foot, they haven't really begun planning at all. They just have the funds to do so.
Ooh.
Oh, those Zyre plants.
Eye of the Watchers, Sword Boots building into more damage.
What the heck? Double Lift just soloed Keith.
Well,
now we need backup. Haunter's here.
Curtain call for Keith. That was Double Lift's ultimate. Both summoners as well. He's trying to get that auto spacing on KFO and hard, but it's not going to work. Big on the side could go down. Haunter once again stays alive with the Ravenous Flock going out against his enemies. And they're back into the fight. Haunter dives through to try and get the fight in, but KFO takes him down. Svenskeren and the rest of the team are still going hard, but they're just doing it because they're in, and they have to stay that way. Bjergsen, the soldiers are out. He tries to shift away, but he goes down. Svenskeren so tanky along with Hard, and they're the two left standing because they have so much HP.
The Rek'Sai Quadra kill, not your ideal goal distribution for Echo Fox. And I'm going to have to see that solo kill again. It did put Doublelift in a very risky situation because all summoners are up on Keith and Doublelift. But he sees Keith walking close, just pops Ghostblade, decides to go. Keith flashes in somewhat of a straight line. Culling takes him low. Doublelift gets a little minion block and dashes for the double shot, but he used all his summoners and his heal and everything to get in there, leaving him very vulnerable. And you look at the minimap, everyone on Echo Fox is coming up, so Haunter then tries to play a little defense smartly. KFO dashes, gets a nice reset to just go right on the Doublelift, and they burst him down. Here, though, when TSM decides to turn, it's obviously very dangerous because Froggen has taken Haunter incredibly low. Honestly, Bjergsen's cutoff there could have been a little bit more delayed if they wanted a bigger play because Haunter died right at the start. Nice sneaky kill by Bjergsen on Big right there while KFO and Hard were focusing him. But then Hard was able to stay in the fight and pick up a Quadra. I had to say, would you rather have an Azir triple kill or a Rek'Sai Quadra kill? I would take the Azir triple kill every single time. Yep. So even though that is a 4 for 4, it's advantage TSM.
And this guy's building Cinder Hulk and tank not
the catch!
Damage. But I guess the catch doesn't matter if you're the first one with the aggro. Svenskeren has to rethink this situation, but still stays with the team, knowing they may have to get this Baron away from Echo Fox. They're going to have to taunt, they're going to have to bait, and they're going to have to do their hardest. Yeah,
this is still really dangerous, though. All summoners are burned in the last fight, so look for the pick and look for Froggen to keep the zone out. There's no ultimate on the Cassiopeia. Baron's still at 7,500 health, so very interesting fight here.
Doublelift still down for 12 seconds, 5v4. TSM's gonna have to turn away initially. The soldiers doing so much damage to the backline. Keith and Froggen, the damage dealers, have to step out of the fight now. And Hard being the tank will not allow the rest of the team to get in there and do damage without being spotted. So TSM, a 4v5, gain control of the map once again.
That Baron wasn't even close. It's 26 minutes in. Echo Fox used a lot of ultimates to get the pick on a Doublelift. They probably should have gone for a more realistic objective like the Dragon. Now, Infernal Drake will go over to TSM and only increase their advantage despite being the ones who got picked off.
Like you said, that Aegis isn't really any closer. We saw the Randuin's coming out first. We see the Kindle Gem still hanging.
Yeah.
But that's almost the harder way to go about building it anyways.
I don't like that build at all from Hard. Doublelift isn't a crit build Lucian, so he's building the anti-crit armor item. Also, the rest of TSM is 4 magic damage dealers, and you just picked up the Quadra kill. knowing that Rek'Sai doesn't scale very well and you're up against double AP.
You gotta, yeah.
Finish your Locket. He had a Kindle Gem sitting right there. He could have straight up walled the Locket, but they catch Svenskeren again.
The big roots for a big man, but they're able to turn it right around. There's no finalizing kill power right now on the Echo Fox side. And what happens then is everything gets turned around right back on you, and TSM are happy to take that fight.
Yeah, Echo Fox trying to make plays here. They're actually getting a decent number of picks, but they are getting turned around by TSM a couple of times here. And the Drake advantage is mounting.
The fights are lasting too long. They're expecting the front end damage to do more, and then Svenskeren come out healthy. Haunter is still there, incredibly healthy. They got Bjergsen. That's the main target, right? Take him down. We might be able to fight the rest. But TSM is so on that play already. They're expecting Echo Fox to do it.
Yeah, now being down both solo laners, TSM just going in real aggressively.
Just a few presents off from Svenskeren. Keep Fox and the rest of the team, or keep Hard and the rest of the team at bay. They'll wait for Bjergsen to come back up, obviously not going too hard out there. But they're not actually afraid to set up the bait either and have Bjergsen come in late for this fight if they're able to start one.
Yeah, they're hoping for a quick space check, although that was a pretty dangerous spot to be standing, all things considered, with all of Zyra's spells being up. Still, Doublelift's going to clean out some mores. That's really where TSM will be playing around here.
Yeah. Still got about 6 minutes before we see that Elder Drake help anybody out.
Yeah, they actually fully catch out Bjergsen there. The Grasping Roots catch him on the tail end, and then Froggen is able to catch him with the Petrifying Gaze. So while it looked like Sven was caught, it was actually Bjergsen who was the one who got fully caught. But with that being said, Froggen put himself pretty close to an Initiator to get the catch, and he fell shortly after. So really it was a trade of mid laners, and then when KFO came around the side at the end of that fight, Doublelift was able to pick up the kill.
Ooh. You can see other things being pieced together as well. Well, KFO wants Magic Resist. He's got that with a recurve bow and a Spectre Call now.
Yeah.
As he knows there's no aura to come in. These guys are fending for themselves.
He's halfway between Spear Visage and halfway between Wit's End. So probably the last time I mentioned it, but I think it is a huge build mistake from a team to not build Aegis against a triple AP team. There's so much free resistances. So many. It'll be huge when they do complete it, but very huge they don't have it right now. And what is a close game gold-wise, those extra stats would be so efficient.
Yeah, true. With everything else considered, it would help even more at this strength for each team. Summoner's up again, Teleport's up again, as both top laners actually kind of pushing each other around on the bot side of the map, fighting around the Bramble Pit for a little bit, but nothing really coming of it. TSM, like you said, is just working the Baron Pit. They're waiting for Echo Fox to make that move, and at least TSM to get the advantage on Baron.
With the Wit's End and the Spirit Visage, KFO can win that duel against Haunter, for now at least. This is real interesting because they were thinking about sending Azir down, and they maybe would lose control of the mid lane. So KFO really starting to get some of that side lane pressure. That puts the emphasis on TSM to redouble their efforts of Baron control and baiting, because that split push matchup will lose for Haunter in the long term.
Big alt points coming up for these teams. The tunnel from Hard actually doesn't make it over the red pit. He goes too early. Not going to hurt him too much. They just have to go the long way around here, and it looks like he'll trigger Baron. Get a little aggro on TSM. Doublelift willingly getting the call out. Actually playing it very nicely around the plan, so you can see how big you can just kind of cancel a culling with a few. Breathing room for both teams now, but really TSM just plotting their next attack. Feeling okay if the game kind of stalls out for a second, because they know the next thing to happen is Echo Fox has to fight them.
Unless Svenskeren thinks he can knock Hard out of range, it wouldn't be worth going into a 50-50 smite battle here.
Well, it doesn't look like they're going to stop it. They know.
Really dangerous. They're taking a lot of Baron damage. They still want it, though. Svenskeren's really greedy there.
All right, the plant almost keeps it from healing up, but they decide to back off. A little touch and go there for a second.
Yeah. Interesting. They're going to end up losing the mid lane turret for that move. And Echo Fox continuing this stall out actually very well.
They went from 4 to 5, 6,000 gold now to 54.1 to 53.4.
Yeah. 600
gold now is the difference between these two teams as we get later into the game. And Echo Fox, we asked if they could adjust, and TSM is not on their inhibitor turrets this time. They are not inside their base, so they have adjusted to the swap in this series.
Exactly. TSM was able to kill all those outer turrets very early.
Yeah.
But Echo Fox have definitely neutralized this a little bit. I think a lot of that has to do with KFO completing that Magic Resist. And Echo Fox is not going to build a Locket, which I think is a huge mistake.
Wow.
We'll see if it ends up costing.
Still?
They're all going for Spirit Visage. Disappointing, personally.
The Executioner's calling now for Haunter, which will help.
Yeah, and quite honestly, I wanted Svenskeren to build one as well. It's one of the most built items in the game, and there's very good reason to build it against both of these teams.
Biofrost got your back.
Zyra and Cassiopeia should be doing it.
Ardent Sensor as well for Biofrost,
Yeah,
and seeing that more.
He doesn't have the Aegis either. No one has rushed it. Very disappointed, really.
So is Leona. Very sad. Sad days.
The Iron Solari does not appear.
Sad days for the Sun. At least Azir gets a lot of play. 3 kills for both of those mid laners, as I was just looking at Bjergsen's kind of inventory as he gets bigger and bigger. Froggen as well on items that could absolutely delete the squishies on the side of TSM, so we saw it from Froggen last time. The flash engage is still something that Echo Fox is willing to do. I think TSM just has to get a little bit closer in this engage. That Zyra into a Cassio ult would be huge.
Yeah, and they do have the map pressure going on. TSM has the map pressure going on right now, but every time they've tried to move towards this base, they're getting caught by something.
Oh.
Biofrost. Whew.
Doublelift sacrificing his health. Save Biofrost as well. There's that fight between KFO and Haunter. That split is not working as well anymore. This is where TSM last game was able to say, hey, we're going back and forth. We're going to spread you thin here. But now that's not working in the side lanes. Those solos are starting to win, and KFO is stepping up.
And they're really not able to push through the Zyra, Jhin, Cassiopeia stuff that just gets thrown out in front of the turret. They're not even getting turret damage when they're doing these sieges. So really, what this tells me, Drake just went down 34 minutes, 30 seconds. That means Elder Drake is up at 40 minutes and 33 seconds. And it'll be 4 Drake stacks if TSM can get it. It feels like TSM actually has to take this one pretty late unless Echo Fox make a big mistake somewhere and start baiting more aggressively around Baron. Or they get Froggen chunked down low and they teleport in to try and go right now.
Oh, he's right on a slow though as he comes in. And it doesn't look like they'll be able to finalize anything on that. Hard in a bad situation here. I don't think he's going to be able to tunnel under. He does. Finds safety. Oh, he clicked this other tunnel. Oh, when you don't want to make a mistake, but you make a mistake, and then you give the other team Baron, that's the possibility that's happening right now.
It's happening. Double Mountain Drake Infernal. That'll be the Baron for TSM. Now they'll have a real chance of cracking the base. Jhin ult pop. You should cancel that to get the cooldown back as quickly as possible because they're going to need it for base defense. Oh, my goodness.
After all of that waiting.
Yeah, and they were stalling out so well, too, is the thing. And they had some decent vision control around the Baron area. So for Froggen to take chunked in the middle lane, hard to then be caught out, and then to click the tunnel to go back towards the team. Not ideal. And the first Aegis has been completed by Biofrost.
And hard
TSM.
Hard beta Spirit Viz.
Yeah, that's not good. I think that's flat wrong from a build perspective.
Oh,
Haunter's starting to body KFO a little bit. Oh, Biofrost!
Gets himself out. They're using the speed effectively. That's the explosion damage. That front end nuke that we've been looking for. It's able to take down Echo Fox. KFO drops, and the rest of the team will follow quickly. Hard coming back up is the only one left.
Yeah, instead of waiting around their defensive line of Cassiopeia and Zyra, they do try and make the play, which is something they've been trying to improve upon. Right. That was just not the right time to try and make a play. They also had an opportunity to kill Biofrost, but they were greedy for yet another kill. It made them get caught out. Now these are substantial death timers and maybe a TSM win.
Hard says walk this way, but nobody's going to follow that one. Team Solo mid biting down now, looking for the win. 20 seconds left on the clock, and we know that is more than enough time to get onto these turrets, especially with 2 Mountain Drakes to take those objectives down. They're going to be on to the Nexus, and what a heck of a series to end like this. TSM are going to find the win over Echo Fox.
Yeah, and it was a pretty hard-fought series, all things considered. Only their 3rd series to go the distance for TSM all 3 games, but at the end of it, they win, and they remain undefeated as they move towards playing Envy tomorrow.
As well, the mentality of usually winning that first game, losing the second, then having to win another. TSM had to come out winning 2 in a row on this one. It didn't seem to faze them at all. They understood that our question at the beginning of the day actually happened. Would they get stuck by a trap game? And they did. They did not respect Echo Fox. And Echo Fox came to play today.
They did come to play, and it's still going to be a learning thing for them, though, because even with taking 1 game in the match, doesn't count. They did break their 10-game losing streak,
yes,
but their match losing streak persists now to 6 in a row. And some worrying things to happen down the stretch. I don't agree with some of the builds they decided to go with.
Right.
They made some questionable calls. They had stalled out fairly well, and they had made a few picks, but those 2 mistakes down the stretch with hard dying by taking the wrong tunnel, and then grouping up in TSM's jungle while TSM had Baron, knowing 1 lost team fight would mean the game. And they lost the team fight and the game.
Right. Echo Fox would always be in slight deficits, and the way they would find to come from behind was pack those pink wards in, find a kill, let's get 1 pick, let Froggen work on the side lane. We can see double sweeper upgrade coming out from TSM. They were always on those side of the jungles before wanting to really activate anything, making sure that jungle was clear, because that's actually the way Echo Fox was getting back in.